As a loyal or maybe as a fanatic fan of the Rolling Stones for 58 years since their single debut with Chuck Berry's Come On, released on the Decca label in June 1963. It was sad, extremely sad, to hear that the group's drummer, Charlie Watts, has passed away. What made the Stones and Charlie so extraordinary from the very beginning, from the Richmond days until August 2021? Let me start with the visual experience or aspect, which means watching them on stage. The original members were such different characters or personalities. The group's founder, Brian Jones, wanted a lot of focus and attention. Without any doubt, that was exactly what he achieved. During the first 3 years, he seemed to be satisfied, having a good time on stage and in the studio. However, Mick Jagger was a natural-born frontman, while Keith Richards slowly developed a special way of handling his instrument, ending up looking like a threatened guerrilla soldier with his gun or guitar way down low in the Amazon jungle. Bass player Bill Wyman had no ambition running around on stage. He seemed to be in complete harmony, just standing like a statue with his bass guitar in a permanent, perpendicular way. What about Charlie? He was sitting more or less stone-faced behind his simple drum set, doing his minimalistic but fundamental work, not interested in any attention at all. These personal, visual contrasts are a big part of the mystery or the secret about the Stones. In addition, I think it's a fascinating example of English tradition, culture and humor at its very best. Keith has often made the statement, without Charlie Watts, no Rolling Stones. I'm convinced that Keith is right, that he tells us the truth. Charlie, he was always a gentleman, sympathetic, humble, pragmatic, down to earth. He looked at his position in the group just as an ordinary job. In spite of that, to us, the loyal fans, Charlie got more and more popular as the decades kept rolling on. Maybe it's a big paradox, but there was always vibrations of mystery and magic associated with the Rolling Stones drummer, even though he was so authentic. Brian got to know a respected, well-known personality in the London's blues clubs during the spring of 1962. Alexis Corner was older than Brian and a dedicated blues musician. His band, Blues Incorporated, had a member by the name of Charlie Watts. Mick soon got a chance to sing with Alexis's band. Keith too wanted to play with these guys. Mick and Keith also had an ambition of performing more commercial rock and roll and cover Berry classics like Around and Around. In the summer of 1962, Brian became the founder of the Rolling Stones. Charlie had made an impression on the young slide guitar player from Cheltenham, but was not willing to leave his steady job as a designer. In addition, he was also a dedicated jazz fan, which didn't fit in with the Stones' rough image. After a lot of persuasion, Charlie accepted joining Brian and his wild, unconventional friends during the winter of 1963. He was the last of the original members to join the group. Charlie was able to include or integrate his jazz-inspired technique and rhythm into the group, which made the Stones sound traditional and revolutionary at the very same time. Thanks to Charlie for this achievement. He just went on handling the drums this way, even though he improved his technique for the rest of his career. Thanks to Charlie for his work on Moonlight Mile from Sticky Fingers, 1971, Paint It Black, 1966, and the manic single Get Off of My Cloud, 1965, which I suppose was inspired by John Lennon's vocals on Twist and Shout. From 1971, the Rolling Stones included horns on a lot of their fantastic compositions. I think that was a good decision for Charlie, giving the band more of a jazz flavor. Anyway, lots of peace, love and thanks to Charlie Watts, his family, his friends and to all the members of the Rolling Stones for teaching us about the black roots of music and for giving us so much joy and happiness in our complicated modern lives.